Is the name Chrysler about to become a thing of the past? And the question is, will the Chrysler nameplate stay or go?
Some car brands used to be popular, but are now struggling. Others promised big changes, but didn't deliver. What went wrong with these companies you might have heard of? Let's find out why some cars just don't catch on anymore in today's tough car market. Take Mitsubishi, for example. Remember when Mitsubishi was the cool kid on the block? The Lancer Evolution sat on teenage bedroom walls next to exotic supercars. If cars were high school students, Mitsubishi was the athletic kid who peaked too early and now sells insurance. Their fall from glory was so steep, you'd need all-wheel drive to climb back up. The numbers tell the story. In 2023, Mitsubishi sold just 84,000 vehicles in the US, while Toyota sold over 2 million. That's like comparing a corner store to a shopping mall. Their current lineup is mostly forgettable crossovers like the Outlander and Eclipse Cross. Yes, they named a bulky SUV after the sleek Eclipse sports car. That's like naming your pet turtle Cheetah. Marketing is nearly invisible. When was the last time you saw a Mitsubishi commercial? Their ad budget is less than a quarter of what companies like Hyundai spend in North America. Reliability scores and customer satisfaction ratings stay below average. Their dashboards feel like they were built during the Tamagotchi era. No modern features. No wow factor. Mitsubishi leans heavily on its alliance with Renault and Nissan to share costs and stay afloat. Without it, many believe they'd already have left North America. They've also walked away from their performance roots. The Lancer Evolution was discontinued in 2016. The Eclipse became a crossover. Even the legendary Pajero, a 12-time Dakar Rally winner, was dropped in most markets by 2021. A recent survey ranked Mitsubishi as one of the least desirable franchises to own. Their showrooms are so quiet, salespeople have started naming the dust bunnies. Still, Mitsubishi isn't quitting. They've announced new hybrid and EV plans over the next 5 years. Whether it'll work? Hard to say. For now, they're hanging on by their fingernails. As we shift from Mitsubishi's international struggles, let's look at an American brand facing similar challenges much closer to home. When people think of American car brands, Ford and Chevrolet usually come up first. Chrysler? It's more like that distant relative you only remember around the holidays. Founded in 1925, Chrysler was once a powerhouse of American manufacturing. Today, it's a shadow of itself. In 2023, Chrysler sold fewer than 190,000 vehicles in the U.S. Back in 2005, it sold over 640,000. That's not just a decline, it's a nosedive. The product lineup is tiny. Just the 300 sedan, the Pacifica, and the Pacifica Hybrid. You could memorize the entire catalog before a traffic light turns green. It's like walking into a restaurant with a 3-item menu. The Chrysler 300 launched in 2011 and hasn't changed much since. When that design debuted, flip phones were still a thing and social media was barely off the ground. A Chrysler showroom feels like stepping into a time machine. While competitors show off big touchscreens and self-driving features, the 300 still looks like USB ports are cutting edge. The Pacifica minivan is the brand's strongest seller, but the minivan segment has been shrinking for years as families switch to SUVs. It's like being the star player on a team no one watches. Ownership under Stellantis doesn't help. Chrysler has to compete with moneymakers like Jeep and Ram. When your corporate siblings are pulling in billions, old sedans and minivans don't get much love. Dealerships have collapsed, from over 4,400 in 2000 to fewer than 2,400 in 2023. Empty Chrysler lots now dot small towns across the U.S. Advertising is nearly gone. Chrysler's current ad budget is under 10% of what it was in the early 2000s. Some showrooms are so quiet, a triggered car alarm counts as an event. As for electric vehicles, Chrysler has only the Pacifica Hybrid and vague future promises. While Ford and GM race ahead, Chrysler's still figuring out which direction to go. Some analysts think Stellantis may shut down Chrysler entirely, like Plymouth and Pontiac. Others think it could be rebranded for EVs. For now, it's slowly fading from the public's memory. A few months ago, I had no idea what a health ring even was until my fiancé got me one, and I have to say, I'm shocked this isn't a widely known and used product. It tracks my stress levels, and what I found out is that some supplements made my stress score spike, while others actually helped bring it down. I adjusted a few things based on that, and honestly, I feel 10 years younger. My wife mainly uses it to track her menstrual cycles, and she is obsessed with her sleep quality score. I noticed they are currently running a limited 69% discount, but I don't know how long it will last. It's currently only $60, and it's clear this one is the best bang for your buck, with other health rings priced around $350 with less functions. They managed to price it this low because they cut out the middleman like Amazon, Walmart, etc., who drive up the price and take a big margin, ending up with the customer paying 3 to 5 times more. If you are on TV, you can check it out yourself by pausing the video and scanning the QR code with your phone camera or clicking the first link in the description of this video. While Chrysler battles with maintaining relevance after nearly a century in business, our next struggling automaker represents the opposite problem: a new company trying desperately to make its mark. In 2014, a mysterious company burst onto the automotive scene with grandiose promises. Faraday Future wasn't just going to build cars, they were going to redefine mobility itself. Unfortunately, the only thing they've successfully generated is disappointment. Their production delay is longer than the wait at the DMV on the last day of the month. Faraday positioned itself as the ultimate luxury electric vehicle maker. Their flagship concept, the FF91, was unveiled at the 2017 Consumer Electronics Show to gasps and applause. With claims of over 1,000 horsepower and autonomous driving capabilities, it seemed poised to become the electric equivalent of a Rolls-Royce. Money flowed like water. A Chinese tech billionaire backed the company with billions. Faraday Future raised over $3 billion total, an astronomical sum for a startup with no production history. In 2016, they announced plans for a $1 billion factory in North Las Vegas to employ 4,500 workers and produce 150,000 vehicles annually. Local politicians celebrated. The future had arrived in Nevada. But reality hit hard. Construction mysteriously stopped. Bills went unpaid. Executives departed with troubling stories about management. By 2017, the Nevada factory was a vacant lot with half-finished foundations, an apt metaphor for the company. Financial troubles escalated. In 2018, Faraday Future laid off many employees and cut salaries. Legal disputes mounted. Their founder fled his home country to escape creditors and later filed for bankruptcy, claiming over $3.6 billion in personal debt. Despite red flags, Faraday Future went public in 2021 via a SPAC merger, temporarily valued at $3.4 billion. Investors soon realized they hadn't found the next big thing. They'd bought oceanfront property in a landlocked state. It's like ordering a luxury sports car online and receiving a child's pedal car instead. The worst part? As of 2023, after 9 years and billions in funding, they'd delivered fewer than 20 vehicles. Major automakers produce more in an hour than Faraday has in its entire existence. The few FF91s that reached customers cost around $309,000, pricier than most exotic sports cars, without the reputation or reliability. Technical challenges haven't eased. The FF91's advanced features remain tough to implement. It spent so long in development that its tech is aging faster than milk left in the sun. Is there hope? Some say yes. Others call it a zombie company, still moving but already dead. Faraday Future remains a stark reminder that bold visions mean nothing without real products. As Faraday Future struggles to gain traction in America, our next automotive challenger faces entirely different obstacles in the American market. You might be surprised to learn that Renault, one of Europe's largest automakers, can barely get a foothold in the United States. If you're an American under 40, you've probably never seen a new Renault on the road. Renault in America is like professional handball, wildly popular everywhere else, but struggling for relevance here. Finding a Renault in America is like finding a surfer in Nebraska. Technically possible, but highly unlikely. It wasn't always this way. Renault had a significant American presence in the 1980s through its ownership of American Motors Corporation. The Renault Alliance was even named Motor Trend's Car of the Year in 1983. But by the late 1980s, Renault had sold its stake to Chrysler and retreated entirely. The retreat wasn't just about poor sales. It followed a shocking tragedy: the murder of Renault's president in 1986. While unrelated to American operations, it coincided with financial losses and contributed to the decision to retrench to Europe. Since then, Renault has become a powerhouse elsewhere. The compact Clio and Megane models regularly rank among Europe's best sellers. In 2022, Renault Group sold approximately 2.1 million vehicles worldwide, none in the United States. Why doesn't Renault attempt a comeback in America? The challenges are numerous. First, establishing a dealer network from scratch would cost billions. Industry experts estimate it would take at least $4 to $5 billion just for a basic sales network in major U.S. cities. Then there's the product problem. Americans prefer SUVs and trucks, while Renault's strength lies in small and mid-size cars. Even Renault's SUVs like the Captur and Kadjar are smaller than what typical American buyers want. One analyst noted, Renault would need to develop a completely different lineup for the U.S. market, essentially starting from zero. Regulatory hurdles present another obstacle. U.S. safety and emissions standards differ from European requirements, meaning every Renault model would need significant engineering modifications and costly recertification. Beyond these practical matters, Renault faces a perception issue. The last Renaults sold in America developed a reputation for questionable reliability. Those old Renaults broke down so often that mechanics could identify them by the sound of tow trucks arriving. Renault cars became so familiar with repair shops that they practically had assigned parking spots. Globally, Renault isn't exactly thriving either. The company's electric vehicle sales declined 15% in 2023, while competitors saw dramatic growth. Europe's strict emissions regulations have forced Renault to accelerate its electrification plans, requiring massive investments with uncertain returns. A major corporate scandal damaged Renault's image in 2018 when the Alliance head was arrested in Japan on financial misconduct charges before making a dramatic escape hidden in a musical equipment case. Renault's primary focus now seems to be defending its home turf against increasing competition from Chinese automakers. In response, they've announced plans to launch 10 new electric models by 2025 and created a dedicated EV business unit called Ampere. Could Renault ever return to America? The current CEO hasn't ruled it out, but indicates it's not a priority. For now, Americans can only experience Renault's latest models in racing games or during European vacations. While Renault remains completely absent from American roads, our final struggling automaker has a different problem: being present but overlooked despite making excellent cars. Mazda finds itself in a peculiar position in the automotive world. Car journalists love them, engineering students admire them, driving enthusiasts praise them. Yet mainstream success eludes this Japanese brand. Mazda is the automotive equivalent of that critically acclaimed movie that everyone says you should watch, but you never get around to it. They make cars so good that critics run out of positive adjectives, yet dealership lots are so empty you could play a full game of football on them. In 2023, Mazda sold approximately 307,000 vehicles in the United States. That sounds impressive until you compare it to Subaru, another Japanese automaker with a similar-sized lineup, which moved over 640,000 units. Despite making some of the most engaging vehicles in their classes, Mazda remains a niche player. What makes this strange is the universal praise Mazda receives from automotive experts. Major car magazines consistently rank Mazda vehicles at or near the top of comparison tests. The MX-5 Miata is regularly described as the benchmark affordable sports car. The CX-5 and CX-9 SUVs bring unexpected driving pleasure to family haulers. Consumer Reports has ranked Mazda at the top of its reliability ratings in recent years, ahead of Toyota and Lexus. Yet these accolades haven't translated into showroom traffic. One major hurdle is Mazda's limited dealer network. While Toyota has over 1,200 dealerships across America, and Honda has nearly 1,000, Mazda operates with fewer than 600. This means potential buyers often need to travel significant distances just to test drive a Mazda. As one analyst noted, it doesn't matter how good your cars are if people can't easily find them. Marketing represents another challenge. Mazda's advertising budget is dwarfed by competitors. Toyota spends roughly 6 times more on American advertising than Mazda does. Mazda's tagline, "Feel Alive," accurately reflects their driving-focused philosophy, but hasn't resonated with mainstream buyers like Toyota's "Let's Go Places" or Subaru's "Love" campaigns. The shift toward electric vehicles has caught Mazda flat-footed. Mazda's first electric offering, the MX-30, arrived with disappointing specifications. Its EPA-rated range of just 100 miles made it impractical for many American drivers. One journalist wrote, "It's as if Mazda designed an electric car for people who don't actually want an electric car." Brand positioning has been another stumbling block. Mazda has attempted to move upmarket, describing itself as premium without being fully luxury. This creates confusion. They're priced above Honda and Toyota, but below Audi and BMW. Mazda is like that person who's too dressed up for casual Friday, but not quite formal enough for a fancy event. They're stuck in automotive limbo, too fancy for the drive-thru, but not fancy enough for valet parking. Mazda's focus on driving dynamics may actually work against it. Modern car buyers increasingly prioritize technology, convenience features, and interior space over handling and steering feel. While automotive journalists praise Mazda's perfect steering weight and chassis balance, the average buyer might be more impressed by a competitor's larger touchscreen. The interior design follows a similar pattern. Mazda creates elegant, driver-focused cabins with minimalist controls. Meanwhile, competitors offer flashier technology with larger screens. Mazda interiors are like a perfectly tailored suit, classy and well-made, but not as eye-catching as the guy wearing the light-up sneakers and smartwatch that can play video games. Demographic challenges loom as well. The average Mazda buyer is 56 years old, significantly older than the industry average of 49. This suggests the brand is failing to connect with younger buyers who will form the core market in coming decades. Despite these challenges, Mazda isn't giving up. They've announced plans to introduce 6 new SUV models by 2025, including plug-in hybrids and fully electric vehicles. The latest generation of Mazda vehicles has grown larger and more luxurious, directly targeting entry-level luxury brands. Will these efforts be enough? Mazda has survived for over a century, despite being much smaller than Toyota or Honda. Their passionate fan base and reputation for quality gives them a solid foundation. But in an industry rapidly consolidating and facing technological disruption, Mazda's path forward remains as winding and challenging as the mountain roads their cars are designed to conquer. The automotive world is constantly evolving, with winners and losers changing places faster than ever before. Some brands find ways to reinvent themselves, while others fade away. One thing is certain: the road ahead for these struggling car companies will be anything but smooth.